Welcome back to Frightening Frauen. This is part 2 of talking with Ember regarding parental alienation. If you missed last week's episode, that was part 1. And if you didn't miss it, then you are in the right place.
But yeah, I forgot where I was at, but there's stories of because he's never not had a girlfriend. And my daughter talks because I've been single for a hot minute. Even now, she's like, "You're gonna date. You should do that. I don't want to take care of you. You should date." But he's never not had a girlfriend. And the kids talk about that. Okay, y'all. He used to make my kids, well, the middle one, because the youngest one has the fuck you attitude. Okay. Uh, the middle one, he used to make the middle one babysit random women's kids that would just, I don't know, come over, didn't know them, so they could go upstairs and bang. It was very obvious that that's what was happening. Like that happened several times. These are the experiences that my kids had. And then I completely forgot. When I saw Tom on the morning that I saw the girls off before I saw Doofus. No, after I saw Doofus, because we were being chummy by that point. He admitted to me that Kelly was living there. So she had moved in with him, but she wasn't sleeping in his room because she's a Christian woman and they were not going to be doing the bangy bang until they were married because he is trying to get in her pants and she was just using him for money because she ended up getting thousands of dollars for Botox in her hands. Shit like that. Um, anyways, so
I know, we're both just like,
I know, right?
I'm like,
yeah, right. But she's all the procedures. So
a good Christian. You're
yes.
born perfect, and you shouldn't change yourself because God made you perfect.
Perfect. She's a good Christian woman. Oh, I could show you all kinds of things. Dude, I found when I first opened up my TikTok, she came across because I had her phone number at one time and it's somewhere lost in my cloud of
So it's someone in your contacts.
Right, exactly. Right. Well, I blocked her a long time ago. Anyways, when she first popped up, girl, she's out there spewing some kind of misogyny shit. And she's like, trust me, ladies, you don't need to be dressing like that. Save yourself. Okay. So then I start looking through her shit. And then I find her 12-year-old daughter doing the twerky dances in a bikini top and shorts. And I'm like, come on now. Well, they're both blocked now. But yeah, so she's preaching that shit while she's being nothing of what she's talking about. So anyways, yeah, I forgot where I was at. But yeah,
Oh, that's funny. No,
um
I've had my fair share of the courts, and thankfully I never had the parental alienation happen to me. My ex tried. Every single time we would go to court, while leaving court, I'd be served with the papers for the next court hearing because he failed. It was every 3 months we were in court, to the point where, and they're very strict in California, to the point where when I got
yeah,
out of
you were in California.
Yeah, when I got, and he's in the military, so he was very much favored in court, mind you, and I am shocked that they were able to see through some of it because you could tell they started listening and would kind of hear what was going on. He tried to get restraining orders against me. Thankfully, none of them went through. He only got temporary ones and none of them went through. But he had a lawyer. I had one. And he filed bankruptcy. I had to pay my attorney fees he was supposed to pay because he filed bankruptcy. And I couldn't afford a lawyer anymore. And so I didn't have a lawyer. He had a lawyer, and his was free. It was a family friend.
Same. That's exactly what he had too. He had some friend or somebody that had a lawyer friend that was able to do his fucking dirty work. Yep. I didn't have no help.
He kidnapped the boys. He got back from deployment, and he's supposed to, when he gets back from deployment, be able to have them for a week. So, because he usually gets off for a week and he can have them. So I was like, okay, fine. The week happens. I go to meet up with him, didn't show up. No idea where he is. Start calling family, start calling him. Everyone turn their phones off. And so I show up with the police, like with the sheriff, and the sheriff's like, he just got back from deployment. Why are you trying to take the kids back from? That's the court order. Like, it took me going to court, which I had to wait over a month for, to go back to court for me to get the kids back. And so I was terrified every time he took them after that, that I wasn't going to get them back. He ended up alienating our oldest. Because he's no fun, as he started having more and more of his traits come out. Because my oldest son, he has autism level 3 and a lot of other epilepsy that caused brain damage and all this stuff. And so he started refusing to take our oldest son. Then he hasn't seen him, our oldest, well, my oldest, he ended up adopting him. It's not his child because I was assaulted and got pregnant with him. But he tried to give up custody, and then the court was like, well, you can give up custody. We're paying for 100% for having 100% custody because there's more than one way to have a child.
Right.
And your reasoning is because he's no fun. Like in court. That was his reason. Yeah. Wow. So, and then our other son, like I kept trying to get him to go visit his dad. And so he'd go down there and his dad would send him home after like 2 weeks every time. And I'd be like, okay, well, how about you have him for a year? Like you've barely seen him. You're on shore duty. Take him for a year so that he can have some experience with you and like be able to get away from his sisters for a little bit. Like spend some time with your child. And 2 weeks later, sends him back again. And I get the brunt end of it all. Like it's my fault that his dad told him it was my fault he got sent back here, that I had him sent back here because there was stuff going on with court or whatever. And I'm like, I told you to take.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, do you mind if I interject? Because I just remembered. Okay, so back in the process of me fighting for my time. So when Shannon reached out to me, what I did was I made it 100% on her terms. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was going to see her when she wanted to see me. I was going to talk to her when she wanted to talk to me. This was on her terms. Okay. Well, she would hang out with me, but she never stayed the night. Well, about a year into us working on our relationship, all of a sudden Tom decides that he's going to move up to Prescott, Arizona, and he's taking Shannon with him. What the fuck? Okay, first of all, so I don't do well with that. I take it, well, he gives me like a 24-hour notice, basically. Oh, so I rush to courts, put a stop move on him, try to do he can't leave. Okay, well, he gets in front of the judge and he starts blowing up that he has this great job opportunity. Okay, he's got he works for Amazon. In Tucson, he was making like 17 something an hour, but in Prescott, he's going to make 19 something an hour. And that was a really good advancement. Y'all, that was a cost of living increase. Tucson to Prescott are two very, very different living categories. Okay. That was not a goddamn raise. That was a cost of living increase. Well, he was able to move, but we had to come up with a new parenting thing because I couldn't go. I did not trust just doing I just want to see you whenever you want to see, because when we lived in the same town, I could just drive over there and pick her up. When she lived 3 hours away, it had to be organized and everything else. And I didn't trust her dad to follow through on any of that. So I needed something in writing. Well, during this meeting, he ends up telling me that him and Shannon talked and they agreed that 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off would be a really good idea because she was doing at home schooling and she could, 2 weeks, my house did, like it didn't matter. So we start the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off process. Kate, now I want to remind, he said they talked and it was good. I reiterated, you're sure And he's like, yeah, okay, because she hadn't stayed the night or anything at this time. Okay. Y'all, he fucking forced 2 weeks on for this child because that he knew that would be the only way that I would agree to him being able to move. Okay. So when this 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off thing starts, she's angry. She's mad because she thinks that I'm the one. He told her that I pushed for the 2 weeks. No, sir, you offered me the 2 weeks. You told me that you guys talked. So I ended up having to have like a heart to heart with my daughter and being like, look, I give up. It's back. You tell me when you want to be here. Like, we're not doing this. I was told you wanted to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I'm not making you do that. I never told you I was going to. I thought we were on the same page. And that's when she told me, no, Dad told me you fought for this. Motherfucker, you did that just so that I would let you move to Prescott without a fight. Because I was going from no sleepovers to 2 weeks on. Of course I was going to be better with that because I went from 0 for 6 or whatever years it was to now of course I'd be fine with that. But no. So fast forward, she ended up coming down for like the holidays and stuff for like, I don't know, a year. Then after that, she was like, yeah, I'm just ready to move in with you now. But yeah, he like even set it up for us to be mad at each other, like even in the reunification process, because he knew that it was very important that it be on her terms. Yeah. So painting the picture of me fighting for something that she wasn't ready for, it was just creating more. Well, during all of this time, she went to her sister and brother with us, and she's like, I'm thinking about moving in with Mom. What do you guys think? And both siblings were like, fucking do it. Like, yes, because everybody's seen his true colors by this time. Okay. My son calls him a narcissist. My middle daughter calls him a narcissist because she was communicating with me for a little while, and so was he. Well, ever since my daughter moved in, everybody has started pulling away. And now nobody's talking to Shannon. And so now he's pinning the siblings against each other, not just the siblings against
He has to have control.
100%. So yeah, so now not only do I experience the parental alienation, there's also sibling alienation happening. Yeah. She was fucking close with her middle sister. And she 100% pulled away, and we don't know why. Like, she never said why. And then all of a sudden she was like, well, let's try again. No idea why. No one will say, I know why. You know why. We know why. Because he got involved. We don't know
the details of why.
Correct. Yeah. And that's all part of it. And a lot of people, and go back to the whole stigma of the mom things, like we were saying at the very, very, very beginning, is being a mom and have this happen to you. There's such a stigma in society against it because everybody has this idea that the courts love the moms because
and that's
the moms
not how it is.
No, that's not how it is at all. The thing is there a lot of parental alienations to dad? Yes, I will not discredit that. Absolutely there is. But there's also a lot of dads who are not fighting. There's a lot of dads who just don't try. And a lot of the times those are the ones that are saying that they had their kids taken because they're just not willing to fight. Where me, I fought. I have a stack the size of a toddler, basically, of court paperwork from me trying, from everything that I have gone through, done, time, energy, everything else. But yeah, whenever there was a lot of times that I would tell people that I was alienated, and they would be like, well, that must mean you're a bad mom.
Yes, they're like, that you're a deadbeat because you were alienated.
Yeah, you did drugs, right? You were an alcoholic. Like, there's obviously something. Yeah, no, there was nothing. There was lies, and someone had more money than I did, and more connections.
Technically, like, if you were in the right place and you knew like the right people and everything else and had the right look, he false imprisoned you.
100%.
you were in this self-defense situation, then he was the aggressor, but you like fighting back for yourself meant that you're the aggressor.
Right. And the way that the cops wrote it, it made it look like I was the aggressor. So I actually took it to an attorney and I was like, can I fight this? Because yeah, like I said, I didn't have a speeding ticket. So the fact that here I am having a DV on my, you guys, I am not a fighty fight kind of person. Like I'm not a fighter. I'm going to cry. I'm going to go sit in the corner. I'm a yell. I may have big personality. Like I'm pretty sure I was Italian in my past life because there's big hands. Okay. There's always a lot of hands. Hi. So it's Harold, by the way.
Hello.
So, oh, for everybody that's on audio, the cat was back making another debut. So yeah, so when I took it to the lawyer and I was like, can I fight this? He's like, we can, but the way that it's written, he was calm, you are not. He's like, we can't prove that because he had the mark.
I was just listening to a podcast about that too, of how common that is, because narcissists are so good at it. Because it was about reactive abuse, which should not be called that, by the way.
No, yeah. I actually listened to, because I listen to a lot of like dating stories type podcasts, and like I hear a lot. It's very common. And when I was in like these DV classes or whatever, it is actually, they say that they are more likely to take the woman because they're hoping that this is going to be the, all right, I'm out of here, last straw. Even if they think that like they have a hard time deciding who the problem is, they'll take the woman because they think that psychologically that the woman's gonna be like, okay, I'm done.
It is the opposite though, because then the woman's like, maybe I am the problem. They've already been gaslit so much. They're like, maybe I really am the problem because now I'm in trouble and I'm not being heard and I'm being told that I'm an aggressor now.
Correct. Yep. So so I couldn't fight it. Like I couldn't take it. So I couldn't stand in front of the judge and tell my story because I had to admit fault in order to be admitted into the diversion program, which took it off my record, did something with it.
Yeah, like a stay of adjudication type of thing. Once you finish the programs, it's taken off.
Right. So I couldn't go in front of the judge and be like, this is what happened. I'm not guilty, but I'm guilty. I'd like to do the program. Like I couldn't do both. I either had to fight it and risk jail time or whatever for being that, or admit something I didn't do to get the lesser sentence. So I'm little Miss Goody Two Shoes, but it doesn't look like it on my record. Don't fuck with me. And it's funny because during that time, I laughed with David because I don't have an aggressor personality. And I'd be like, I cut a bitch with glitter and kill her with kindness.
Got my unicorn horn.
Fuck you. Literally. So yeah, so that was a really, and I would like to snap back to the first episode because I'm hoping this will drop you back to the first episode. And this is all during the time while I'm being abused by David. Like all of this is happening while I'm being financially, emotionally, everything else abused by the man that I was groomed that claimed to be my best friend.
I'll put a link back to the first episode in the description for this episode. It doesn't have to be in order, y'all. If you've already listened to this one, go back and listen to the other one because this is a separate part of the story. But definitely go back and listen to the first part.
Yeah, because we skid over the parental alienation part last time because there was such a big story I needed to tell. This needed its own spot.
Well, you wanted permission from your child to tell it.
That too. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So after the last episode, I had never heard the term parental alienation. And so I didn't realize that is what I had been going through. And that is why all those years before my son was 18, it felt like the abuse that I had just never stopped, you know? And I went and like learned about it, and I was just like, oh, it was never as extreme in the sense of like I wasn't cut off from him for like years at a time, but whenever, because he was supposed to come like live with me, we were going to take turns, and every time that was supposed to happen, they would manipulate him and be like, well, she's not good because she does this, and if you stay here, you're going to have this, and then would just make him feel like really guilty. And I would never be able to get a hold of him. So, like at some point I got him a cell phone, and then they would leave it in the car. So I still couldn't get a hold of him. And, and it was like, it was really, really hard because we're like very like bonded and very kind of similar people. And so, to just have that we didn't ever do the court thing because my ex made it very clear that when we started to do all of that they had the money and they would win in court. And when we separated, they kept the house. They took everything. And I was basically couch surfing for years. So I didn't even have the stability. So even if I had been able to go to court, I wouldn't have the things that would make the court choose me.
100%. No, I understand that 100%. Yeah, my ex-husband, he even tried taking my forerunner in our divorce. Like,
your forerunner, that's your baby. Like, no.
Girl. Okay, we had two forerunners. We had a 96 and we had my 03. Okay, we bought them at the same time. My 03, like my Mother's Day present was my first stereo system. Like my headlights was a Christmas gift. Okay, like everybody has always known that I'm the one that worked to get it. Like I just posted that story on my social media about me working for 3 years to be able to blah, blah, blah. Okay. That was my car. Yeah, he went to court and he was like, I need that one. And the judge is like, do you have a car? And he's like, yeah, I have this one. He was like, but why do you need that one? He's like, because that was the family car. And I'm like, and the judge was like, no, we're not doing, like, you keep yours. She'll like the license plate was 21 Bunny, which my nickname was Bunny for him. Like everything was obvious that it was mine. But yeah, he tried, and they'll do anything. So now question for you, Lee, was your ex successful in turning your son's perspective of you? Like, did your son start seeing you as bad and scary? Like, because you guys had a really good bond. Was he able to break that bond?
No, it was
good.
There was like an aloofness that was there during the tween years, but as he's gotten older, like at this point, like my son doesn't, once he can make a hard break, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the other parent. And
how old is he?
He's 26.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So and there came a time when he did come to live with me, and there was like, but that was like my ex had other kids and had kind of like started, there was a lot of neglect and like abuse stuff happening that my son never mentioned. Like every now and again, he'll just say something and like, I'll just be like, that was abusive. And, and he's just like, because he just kept all of it to himself. Like my ex would like withhold food and other stuff. And it's just, but it was interesting because like whenever I tell people about stuff like that, they're like, oh, that just sounds like normal like ex stuff. But when I say I never got any part of the house, and that my ex, they're like, well, you're the woman, you should have gotten half. And I'm like, well, I didn't.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, she experienced a lot of abuse too. And then like you were saying about the whole, like, well, he would come to spend time, go to spend time with you, but then they'd be like, oh, you don't want to do that. Like, we're going to do this and this is fun instead.
Yep.
My ex-husband, his girlfriend also signed up for that same narrative. So not only did my daughter have her dad trying to do it, but every single girlfriend that he's ever had, he has made sure that she is aligned in the process of, you don't need her, just do the things with me.
Yeah. And that was like the woman after me. It was so bad that like she would like race to get onto like social media so she could claim him as the mother. And then and they like, he was like 3 or 4, and they were like making him call her mom, even though he was too young to understand. And when I pointed it out, you know, my ex was like, well, you're just insecure. It's just a label. But, you know, fast forward to the future, and my ex is now a woman, and she's literally been on the front of the local newspaper lamenting all the years of not getting to be a mother, you know, and I'm like, you
Oh, so it's just a title.
yeah, it's just a title, you fucking cunt. Like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, fucking narcissist. But so the first Mother's Day that they were together, they were not married. It was like maybe 6 months into their relationship. My ex made her breakfast in bed for Mother's Day. She didn't have kids. She was like some 19-year-old girl that they were dating. And I had not, I never got to have a Mother's Day. I didn't have Mother's Days before that. And then my ex always made sure that they had my son for Mother's Day. But when my son was with me for birthdays or Father's Day, I always made sure we called and like acknowledged those days and did all of that. But then my son now has so much trauma around holidays. I grew up with trauma from holidays from my family. So having a kid was kind of like my opportunity to make something, but my ex continued it. And then my son now has the trauma where like, I have to be like, hey, it's really important to me if you acknowledge my birthday. You know, I always end up being alone on holidays still. And it's, you know, it's really hard because it's like my ex just continued that trauma over, you know, those years.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. Yeah, holidays were and that's the thing with parental alienation is every celebration, every holiday is a new trauma. Every Christmas that passes, every graduation that you don't get to have, every grandbaby that's born, like all of that you're missing out on. Like there was always another woman that was getting like my graduation invite. I didn't get to go to any of my kids. Well, I went to one. I wasn't given an invite. I went and stood in the public area. But like I've never like I didn't get to take any of my kids to get like their driver's license. My son's stepmom. Okay, so let's clarify this. Cody, my son, is not Tom's kid. I had Cody at 16. And I was married to I was married at 16. That's fun.
Which we talk about in the first one. So go listen to it. Yeah.
That is right. Yes. I was married to him for like 2.5, 3 years. And I met Tom when he was like 3.5. So Cody's stepmom, same thing that you were talking about, Lee. She's always like, she makes all these posts on social media about how lucky she is to be Cody's mom. And like, I get that. Okay. Like, I want you to love my child, but can you have a place? Like, you know, hold up, take a step back. And then the thing is, and her and I always got along well, or so I thought. Well, when all of this happened with Tom, she took Tom's side. And she tried telling me that I should have taken Tom back because he said he was sorry for having an affair. I didn't go back, and they've continued to pick Tom's side. Well, during all of this time, she's gone and gotten her license to be some type of therapist or something. Y'all,
That's terrifying.
She's encouraged my son to keep his distance from me. She has encouraged, like, even though they've seen the parental alienation, like everybody knows that that's what happened. To this day, like she like supports my son in his need for boundaries against me. And it's like, I want to like, yes, boundaries. I don't deserve this. Like I didn't leave. I've done all of the I am sorries. I failed. If there's anything that you need to be like, you hurt me, say it. I am willing to be, I am sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still nothing. As soon as the separation between my middle daughter and I happened, my son's stepmom moved in to be mom with my daughter too, which in the time frame, I was like, oh, thank you. You know, at least she has, because her and I were getting along before I realized that she was going to pick Tom's side. I was like, thank God someone. But no, she just backed up the whole parental alienation of you don't need your mom. Like holidays, she was the one that was spending holidays with them. Graduations, she was eating my graduation things. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is terrifying to think about the people that have licenses to be therapists.
Yeah. It is,
Yeah.
because like you think about it, a lot of people who are therapists or claim to be relationship people
Right.
are the people that are the most messed up.
Mhm.
And there is the whole those who can't do teach kind of thing. But it's like, do I really want that person teaching me?
It always makes me think of the saying, the roofer's roof always leaks.
Yeah.
Don't buy a car from a mechanic.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Definitely. I am glad like my son's stepmom is really awesome. Like she's
I
really
love
great.
that for you.
And I don't have a relationship with her, but I'm glad he has a relationship with
Oh,
her.
good. Okay.
There's like I know the stories he's told her about me, and I know why she wouldn't want to have a relationship with me.
Okay.
Because that's her husband, and I've never tried to have a relationship with her because I knew what he would tell her.
Right. Well,
And
they
yeah,
do their work beforehand, right? Like he
mhm,
already started that work way beforehand. Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
what they do.
And she he met her, she wasn't a citizen. So yeah. She's from the Philippines. He's in the Navy. Put that
Okay.
together.
Okay.
They have
I
a
mathed that all by
yeah.
myself.
They have a kid
Mhm.
together who is the most adorable thing. I like he gets paid to go around to like screamo bands, like tours and stuff, and mosh at their he's like 6 and mosh at their,
Tiny
Okay,
mosher.
if you look
that's a
up, I
cool
think
existence.
yeah, I think if you look up the mosh kid, that's him. It's the cutest. Like he has merch.
Oh, that's freaking
Very cute.
adorable.
But like they pour all of their time into that kid, and I feel bad for my son because he's not
100%. Yep.
little and cute.
Well, and not only that, there's Golden Child, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, the one that is feeding their needs of
Same.
admiration, fame. And that's
Hmm.
Yep.
exactly the same thing with my ex and my middle child because,
Yeah.
And my son too. Like he tries to ride on my son's coattails too, but my son is turning 25 in a couple of days, and he's at that. He's over it. He's done. Like
Yeah.
and I think that that's part of like why he also leans towards the other side of the family, right? Is because Tom and I, there's drama over here. Tom's always bringing Cody into the drama, and over there, there's no drama because they're married.
Yeah.
Um, they don't have what we have going on,
Hmm.
So I could only imagine because you get to a point where like I'm done, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I'm the one like I don't want to say I'm the one being punished, but I'm the one being punished
You are, yeah. Like you
because
understand why, like he would be in
yes,
that position. You didn't put him in that position, but you understand why he
like
um
I
yeah.
know why. I can see why he's keeping his distance.
Hmm.
But if he were able to step outside and be like, oh, hold on a second, I think that he would. I just think he's turning 25, right? Like he's not at that age yet.
Yeah.
That maybe he's able to do that. Oh, I understand why my mom clicks the way she clicks.
Hmm.
Um, type of a thing.
Well, he's about at the age where the frontal cortex is developed for boys.
Yeah. But I don't think that life
Yeah.
experiences
Yeah.
has landed him there. Just because our brains develop for it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that we've had anything in our life to give us that realization of the bigger picture.
Yeah. That's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I think the way that my son was treated after the other kids came along was part of the reason why there wasn't more of a break between us and why he became so aware of what was going on at a relatively young age. Because
Hmm.
he would come to me when he was like 8 or 9 and be like, I'm seeing these contradictions, like they're saying they're going to do this, but then they don't do this. And then there's this stuff happening where the middle sibling would be like really physically abusive towards him and like act out, and they would always blame my son instead of the other kid, and there was no accountability, and it's like he had different rules than they did, and it caused him to like really pay attention, like analyze everything they were doing. So by the time he was like 14, he was just like, they're full of shit, you know, and he saw that I was consistent, and if I made a mistake, I would own it and apologize, or, you know, like, it's not like I was perfect, but, you know, I would always own my shit. And I think that, you know, if there hadn't been the other kids, I don't know that we would have been able to maintain a connection, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, Shannon finally started, like, she knew, but she didn't know that his consistency wasn't there. Because there was one of the times that like court happened, and like I was upset that, it was when they were moving. I was upset because he was moving, and because he was doing all this stuff, and he was telling her, you know, when we get to Prescott, we're going to go do all of these things, and you're going to live your best life, and everything's going to be amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she got mad at me because I was like, this, you know, he's just saying these things to tell you. And she's like, why can't you believe that other people can change too? Okay. Because she's seen me change, right? Like she's seen this transformation, but she hasn't seen inconsistencies with my change. She gets up there and it's all smoke. They don't do the things, they don't do this, all of this promises were empty. I followed through with as much as I can, right? Because I'm human, okay? But like I follow through with as much as I possibly can, and she's finally put the entire picture together. Like it was like that final straw. Like she saw it, but it took that final straw for her to like see it. And this last time of promises, I think, was when it finally got her, and she was what, 15 when that happened, because she's been with 15 and a half, something like that. So yeah, it takes the inconsistencies, and I struggled during the thick of my parental alienation because everyone kept saying time will tell. Okay, first of all, it's really hard because I'm missing out every single time. Every day I'm missing out on all of the mom things. Okay, okay, so yeah, time will tell, but during that time, we're missing out on each other. They're missing out on a mom or a dad, if you're a dad going through this, you know, and I'm missing out on my child or children. It's a back and forth thing. So you have that, time, they're gonna see it, right? Like time, hopefully, because I still have some that aren't back around, but I think still that time will tell. But it takes them putting it together to see. And it's the time in between that fucking sucks. It's fucking hell. It is hell. It is hell. And I get messages from a lot of people, and they're like, you seem bitter. You have your kids stolen. You have your children stolen from me, and you tell me how non-bitter you can make yourself be.
Yeah, and have just the day-to-day experience that you have to live through, and it's hard. It's like my son told me, he was like, you know, with me being on disability and it being as expensive as it is here, he's surprised that I haven't like moved out of state, and I've looked into it, and I'm like, but then I won't be by you, you know, like to me, like he's my kid. He's also, he's my only family. Like, you know, like I just cannot imagine like moving like another state away and seeing him, if I'm lucky, once a year after all of these years of going through what I did, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I get questions a lot about, because I'm boring, you guys. I work and I come home. I work and I come home. But part of that is I missed out on my kid for 6 years. my baby is here. I don't care if we're in separate rooms and I see her twice that night. That's twice that night where I spent 6 years or whatever it was that I just saw her zero.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to spend every single waking moment that I have with her. You have your kids stolen from me and tell me that you are okay with not seeing them. No, you soak up on every single moment that you possibly can. So moving out of state for me is the same. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to stay here as long as my kids are here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
loved watching your countdown to going to Disney. That was so exciting.
Oh my God, you guys, we had such a magical time. Oh, I worked.
I was about to cry saying that.
Oh, I cried a lot of times. Like I got like little lumps in my throat and things a lot of times. Yeah. So we just, as I've said a few times, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary of her living with me. I took us to Disney. I worked very fucking hard because Disney is expensive.
Oh my God, it's expensive.
It's so expensive.
Disney's expensive, and as everybody knows, this economy right now is very hard. And I'm a single mom and a small business owner. Making that work at Christmas because we went January 21st over the 21st, a month after Christmas. I don't know how. I did it. Like
Awesome.
I did it. But and that's to go back because I want to add to that story. So it not only meant a lot to me, but it was a lot for her because last time she went to Disney, it was her dad stole money from his mentally disabled sister and took her. And like wasn't allowed to tell me that they were at Disney. Like I wasn't supposed to know.
Disney is my ex's thing. Just like they go every year, and like even though she always talks about how poor she is, but like they go every year, and I'm literally like, how poor can you be if you go to Disney every freaking year? But I haven't really ever gotten to take my son to do anything because I never had the money. But my ex's family had money, so they would go to Europe and go on cruises and Hawaii. And I'd always be really glad that my son got to have those experiences. Like I felt like that's one of the benefits of like when your family breaks apart and becomes a bigger family, that you get to have these. But I always wanted to have that, that experience with him. I did take him to Legoland when he was little though.
I love Legoland.
So I've never been to Legoland, but you guys, what I did, and this is what my ex-husband and I did when the kids were little, getawaytoday.com. You get discounts on the pricing and it's a layaway program. You can make payments on it. Like you can be like, okay, I want to go to Disney in 2 years and you have to pay $200 down, but you have 2 years to make payments and it's your tickets and your room. So then all you have to come up with additionally is food and transportation. But if you're smart about it, like food, you can be really fucking cheap. Like, because you can take food in.
Yeah. And there's at some of the places like the Knott's Berry Farm and the one here are like the same place, and Cedar Point. They have like a meal thing that you can get, and that's what I did on my birthday. And it's like $20, maybe it's $30 for the day.
It's like a ton of food.
You get food every 90 minutes you get a meal. And so I got one for 2 people. So every 90 minutes we shared a meal.
That's smart.
I did forget
that I took my son to BlizzCon like a couple times and to a local anime convention. And that was like at my last job. And I would literally save up for the entire year just for that like one thing. So that was, but he also would have like we went where some of my friends went, some of his friends went. So we kind of see each other and hang out a little, and then he would go do his own thing. And then, his parents always or his friends always stared at me because like, I didn't look like a parent. So like,
yeah.
Who's that weird lady?
Yeah.
Went to my son's school in this. So for his
I used to drop him off on a motorcycle, and the kids were just like,
That's pretty cool. No, per cool mom. Yeah, I always did the bump ups because I have the big stereo system, so I always had the bass going. That made me cool for having the bass.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we just celebrated our 1 year. My two don't talk to me, but
Eventually you'll have a 1 year with them and
Yeah.
go
I
somewhere
feel
cool.
like they don't know what they're missing out on, and I hope they figure it out soon.
Here's my hopes is that they see through her.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they see over time that I've been consistent with her. I'm hoping that helps.
Yeah.
Because I also think that at some point in her life, I can see her being like, what are you guys doing? Like, because she knows me, so I can see it being like a
Yeah.
give her a chance type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, influence of the siblings. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but as long as that middle one, because the girlfriend's part of the alienation too, I think that financially she's kind of bound to Tom for now.
Right.
So I think that since that's a college thing, I'm kind of wondering,
yeah,
after college if
oh,
things may
she's
be
being
different.
manipulated and she's being used and she's going to see that later.
Well, there's the financial need for him,
Yeah.
to some degree for whatever the need is. And I think that that's part of the gotta pick sides.
Yep. There's a string.
Yep.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
Well, we very much appreciate you being open and willing to talk about it. And I know that it took a lot for you to get to that point too in your life to be able to discuss it all and have it be out there.
yeah, because I felt like everyone was going to think that I'm a mom without my kids, man. That I'm a mom without my kids. Obviously, there's something wrong with me. Because that's how society has it painted. But no, that's not always the case.
No.
I
would say it's not usually the case.
Right. Yeah. I mean, no, there's some terrible moms out there,
Yeah,
right? Like we
yeah.
talked before, my mom and dad took care of foster kids. I've heard all the stories. Okay. There's some I was raised by an abusive mom. Okay. There's a lot of them out there, but not all of them are.
No.
And I think that if a woman is claiming parental alienation, believe her. Because it takes a lot of work from the other side to hide that that's what's going on. So you're not going to be able to see that that's the process that's happening from the outside. Unless you have been through it, you're not able to recognize the pattern of behaviors, much like narcissistic abuse. You're not able to recognize the patterns of what's happening. And that's why I say parental alienation actually starts before you separate, because they laid the premise of, see, this other person was bad in the background.
And what you may be seeing through that person is the reaction to the abuse, while the abuser is hiding it very well what they were doing, because abusers do not abuse everyone.
Correct. Yeah. So reactive abuse looks certain ways. And you definitely have to learn about what that looks like in order to understand. And hearing stories like this is what helps, because there's so many times that women are made to look like they're the aggressor when all they're doing is reacting from what has been happening for years.
I was told
or just trying to assert.
Yeah. Every time I'd yell back, I was told that I was now making it okay that they yelled at me because I yelled back. When I pushed back or pushed them away from me, I was told I was the abuser because I pushed them away from me. And it took
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot for me to get there.
Oh, so after I left Washington, when I got home, I ended up having those bruises like I told you about. And I sent pictures to Tom, and I'm like, by the way, you did that. I've put this all over my social media. You guys, in the message, he was like, sorry I hugged you that hard.
No.
I'm sorry, but that's so
Literally.
stupid.
Oh,
We may
sorry I
have
hugged you that hard,
EDS.
love.
Like EDS, yes, we bruise easily, but not like that.
And it was like obvious thumbprints, like right here. Like you could tell.
We're just
Right.
really hugging.
Just really hugging. It was good on the floor, down to the floor. It was a good hugging. But yeah, so there's twice that he put bruises on my body, both similar ones for both similar reasons. Both times I caught him cheating.
Yep.
And it was always I was getting in trouble because I got into his phone. Not, of course. I mean,
It's
there's
how
reason why.
Yeah, it's always how we approach them as the problem so that they don't have to focus on it. It's
Yes.
how we're talking to them or how emotional we are while
What?
talking
Wait.
to them.
What is the acronym? Darvo? What is that? Darvo. Deny.
I'm going to look it up to see.
Oh yeah, you do it since you're right there.
Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
So that's what they do. So when you get into a fight, that's exactly how they turn that shit around. They deny it, reverse it. Yep.
I think I'm going to do an episode on that, and I might find somebody awesome, like someone I know of that was a victim of that I can bring on here to talk about
any
it.
narcissistic abuse survivor, anybody because that's what narcissists do is Darvo. So if we're able to educate more people on what things like Darvo looks like and stuff, then we're able to, and gaslighting, right? Once more education get out on Darvo and gaslighting, then we're able to stop abusers much faster.
Because if we know it before, like, we're even in that situation, we can see what's going on logically, because they try to get you into an emotional state where you're not seeing what's happening.
Correct.
And then you look back on it later and you're like, how the hell did I get there? Why was I acting like that?
Yeah.
They curated that.
And it started because you asked them a question. Why am I the one feeling this way right now?
Yeah, you're like, you're telling them they hurt you. And now all of a sudden you're the bad guy.
And I'm apologizing to you now. How did that happen?
Or they're wanting to leave you because you did that. You brought this up and you were wrong for bringing it up.
You should have just left this alone. It's your fault. Everything was fine until you opened up your big fat mouth.
Or if you approached me differently, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. You were so hostile.
My ex would repeat themselves over and over again, as if like I didn't hear them, even though I understood them and had responded like I understood. They would just keep repeating themselves over and over again until I would flip out and throw a plate. I just couldn't handle it.
It's on purpose.
You know?
And the thing is we're all on the spectrum, right? Like we're all a neurodivergent in one way or many. So the whole talking to me thing, especially when you have auditory processing disorders, when they're talking in circles, it's even harder to stop like what is happening right now, because I'm already hearing things that aren't happening, like words that aren't there. Now you're saying the same thing in different words over and over. Fuck. Yeah.
Like a healthy conversation is telling somebody how you feel about what happened and then responding, I'm hearing that you feel this way. Is this the reason? I want to understand. And then having a conversation about that actual thing you talked about. That's a healthy conversation.
Yeah. How can I not do this again? Yes, exactly.
I don't want
Bingo.
to be the reason you feel this way.
Yes.
That wasn't my intention. How can we move forward?
Yeah. But no, I didn't hurt you. You're fine.
There's so much. And the energy that it takes to fight instead of just doing that. It's like, and then being accused of like causing all of this drama and turmoil that never ends because they never conclude it.
But it's the fight that they like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They either want the super like passionate love or they want the fight. Like it has to be real
It can't be.
polar. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
favorite was like, if they couldn't, like, if I cornered them, then they would then promise the thing. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
they would never do it. There was no
Correct.
accountability for the fact that they still did whatever the fuck they wanted in the first place.
Yep.
And if I then brought it up, then I was starting a fight. But I'm like, but you said that, you know?
Yeah. The ex-boyfriend, David, many times it was because I was in therapy, right? So I'm like, I need you in therapy. Like you are doing these things. I need you to go fix yourself. So it was always like to the point of like, well, I looked it up and like he showed me, I looked up, but it always ended there. Like it was never the follow through. So it was like a day or two of, oh, I'm looking for therapists. And like, and then I fall off the map because I have my own stuff going on. So I fall off the map of being on his ass looking. So the next thing I know, I'm not following up because it's not my fucking job to fix you.
that's the thing. I like, for me personally, like I want to be the best me I can be. So I decide to go to a therapist. I make the appointment to go to a therapist. I got an advocate, like, because here in Minnesota, you can have a social worker that helps you navigate through all the resources and everything that the state has, the county has, everything for both physical and mental health. So I have both. I have caseworkers for both mental and physical health that work together. And then I have an arms worker, which is an adult, I forget what it stands for, but basically they come and they help you work on whatever skills you're trying to work on. And they also are your friend for an hour a week. So she'll
That
like go
sounds
for walks with me.
delightful.
She's a forced friend. No. But so like whatever, and I feel like a little kid and I love it because she'll bring me worksheets to work on, and I'm like, I'll work on this worksheet about my life. I have some of them right here. My highest self. But she loves that I like working on these things. She's like, I have to like force my other clients to do this.
You're all worksheet. I am here for it.
I like seeing it all in boxes. And then I have, what else do I have? So I have my health caseworker with the hospital as well, and like all this stuff. And then while going through all this stuff, I was trying to make somebody get help. And I'm like, why am I going through this work? Like I'm purposefully, like I'm on medication. Like I have my psychiatrist, I have my therapist, I have, and I'm like, why am I trying to make you do this?
And then like I would bring it up to, I'd be like, I really hope that, because we were breaking up or whatever. And I'd say something like, I really hope you get the help that you need. Girl, he would throw that shit back and be like, you too. I've been in therapy like 6 years, like I'm doing all the goddamn things. Don't know.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh goodness gracious.
Anyways,
we'll never get them to see, and I'm just glad I'm not them. I really am, because that has to be a miserable existence.
Although it's really unfair that they get to live in healthy bodies and be
that
so
too, though.
Uncareful with themselves. And I'm like, I've been taking such good care of myself since I was a teenager, and like like why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to treat people like that.
No, but you know what? Also, though, I think that living in the bliss of not having the pain of hurting others and not causing others pain, even on accident, I think would be a nice break from always feeling, like sad because other people are sad, or being the person that cries because you see a dog starving on TikTok.
I have
they don't
regularly
experience
said that I wish I was a little dumber sometimes so I could be less aware.
Yeah, but it's not even dumb. It's just our empathy levels. Yeah. I wish I could have less empathy so I could not feel for a day. That would be nice. Yeah. Just to disconnect the old fillers. Just to exist for a day would be nice.
That would be really nice, but we would still think about it. Let's just have like a bunch of, I don't know, what did I have before surgery that made me not care about anything? Percocet. There's a bunch of Percocet.
It was Dilaudid.
Oh, that too.
So because my body, you guys probably have the same thing. Usually people with EDS, we dump morphine, our bodies process
Mhm.
it like water basically. So like dilaudid's the shit.
It's the only one. Like I can only have it through an IV,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the only way it works, and it's the only one that doesn't make me sick
Never
and
had it.
actually takes the pain away.
Oh yeah,
I-
but you know, going in and advocating that for yourself, you sound like
Oh
a big
God,
old
no,
fat
I
drug
would
dealer
never.
or drug
Yeah.
seeker. Yeah.
They give me like fentanyl during like my ablation procedures, and like they're like, you won't be able to feel anything between the lidocaine and the fentanyl, and I can feel like
Oh
everything.
no,
But the
yeah.
fentanyl, I'm in a pretty good mood. I just can feel everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's happening. I just don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's how my 2 surgeries I was awake for. They were like, I think it was Percocet for both of them. And I could feel everything. I could remember it
Percocet
all
ain't shit.
afterwards.
Percocet ain't shit.
And it was like there was a little bit of me that cared a little less.
Right. And that's basically what like
Yeah.
Percocet and stuff do. They just make you not care that you're
Yeah.
in pain. You still feel everything.
Yeah. I had a
Where
DNC awake with Tylenol and a Percocet.
That's rude.
Yeah.
That's rude.
It
I had a uterine biopsy, and they gave me Valium, and they had promised me I would be put out for it because the first one was so traumatized, and I show up and they just give me Valium, and I'm like, what's that gonna do? Yeah, Valium gives me anxiety. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be anxious while you do this. Like,
right. Yeah. Jesus.
no
Yeah.
pain meds.
Our bodies are great. And then having autism or any neurodivergence on top of that makes you really you need a lot more medication for it to work as well.
And a redhead.
Yeah. Oh, and a redhead, yes.
Yep. So along with the neurodivergence, EDS
Mhm.
and redheads, we need more anesthesia and pain medication than other people. But
Mhm.
of course, they don't do that math
Yeah.
when we go in.
Nope.
Yeah, even for my hysterectomy, I refused to agree to the surgery until we had a pain plan in place. And so she had like a plan. They were going to do like a nerve block, and then basically just try meds and see what we could figure out would help. And the first nurse, she just refused to give me more, and she gave me like a tiny little bit. And so the night nurse came in and she looked at my notes, and she was like, I was literally wreathing in pain
I
and
remember
had been
that.
for like 6 hours. And the night nurse was like pissed. She's like, well, we're going to give you more meds, and we're going to keep giving you more meds until it works. The best they could get me at was a 6, but I wasn't breathing anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, thank God. I've heard so many people that have problems. I know people that get outpatient hysterectomies.
Mhm.
They were going originally, and they ended up keeping me for a day because of my anxiety around the pain, because I've had so many surgeries where I had no pain relief after, and they just blew me off and sent me home. Even when I was in labor with my son, they told me I was fine because my blood pressure was normal because I was so calm. I don't externalize my pain. I just went, I would like an epidural. And they went, no, you're fine. And then I threw up bile exorcist style, and they went, oh, maybe you're in pain. That it literally, even my ex was trying to advocate for me, and they were not. They just were like, she's fine because she's so calm.
I'm glad
But I
that
don't, I grew up traumatized where if I
Yeah.
showed how I felt, I would get hurt
Right.
more. So
Yeah.
Well, and I'm the type of person that when I'm in pain, I shut down because that's the only way I
Mhm.
can manage the pain. So even when I was in labor, I had all my kids natural, but I say,
yeah,
there's a
What
bug
was
attacking us.
I saw that.
It's
yeah.
we call them mosquito eaters. That's like
Oh,
a
the big
dragon.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get
We
those
have
here
them,
too.
we have them a lot right now.
Yeah, I just kind of breathe through the pain and then like sort of disassociate, right? And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
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 I would focus on like the light dot, and then I would just breathe like through the light dot, and I'd never like said anything out loud or anything whenever I was in labor. It was just a lot of breathing, just focusing on my light.
I mask mine with humor, which makes them really think that I'm not in pain.
Oh.
I do that sometimes too. Especially at the dentist where numbing stuff doesn't work on me, and I've literally had root canals without being numbed. And that
That's
particular
trauma.
that
Yeah.
particular, the mistake I made is I went to a dentist instead of a specialist for the root canal. And the
Oh.
dentist didn't get me numb. And then she told me that I was a baby when I told her that it hurt. But after that, I started going to a specialist every time I need a root canal, and they actually take the time because there's a lot of dentists, they put the stuff in too fast. And that's part of why it doesn't work even on people who are not wired like we are. And the specialists actually take the time, they like take, and so they make sure you're numb before they go in and like fuck your tooth with a needle, so. Exactly.
Love it.
That visual was life.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
For
Well,
real.
we appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much for having me
Yes.
on.
Anytime.
I'll
Find more
back at
topics.
what grooming looks like. We
Oh,
can do
perfect.
that.
Actually, that's a great one, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
my brain went to the more self-care grooming first, and I was like, Manscaped is the bomb, and I was like, wait, that's not what we're talking about.
How to wash your butthole properly. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. You
Proper
take the
grooming.
rope and you just, right?
Just file it back and forth.
Oh,
Careful of the front butt, though. That could hurt.
Well, the more you do it, the less you feel it.
It's a desensitization process.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Crazy. But yeah, no, I thank you, ladies, for having me on and to tell my story. I really hope that someone can hear this and like you, Lee, realize what parental alienation is, and maybe they're experiencing it and they don't even realize it, because I didn't realize what parental alienation was until one day the word came out, and then I did research and I was like, oh, that's what is happening. I do have a couple of audiobooks that I listened to. I'll send you over those screenshots because those are the ones that made me realize the parental alienation before the parental alienation. So if we're able to look at it from the very beginning, we're able to look at it in a different way. The other thing that these audiobooks do is they help you to learn how to stay in the compassionate mind, because we need to realize that the kids are victims in abuse too. Because the kids are going to say very mean things. If they have been conditioned that you are the bad person, you're a wrong person, you're going to hear terrible things from your children. Mine stopped calling me mom. I was called every name under the book. You're going to have to know how to come at that, and you're going to have to know how to stay on the compassionate side to not take it out on your kids, because it's very hard to hear those words coming out of their mouths and to point your anger towards them because they're the ones saying it. But you have to remember that they're just a product of, oh no, that's fine.
One of
they're
my
just a
children
product.
came up here.
Hey, of what they're being taught by this person that they love and trust.
Definitely.
So,
Evelyn.
Goofy goober.
And we're recording, Evelyn.
Can I just say, I absolutely love the name Evelyn.
You want to know where I got it from?
Go ahead.
The Mummy.
Where's Evelyn?
The main character, the female's name is Evie. Evelyn.
Oh, yes. Okay. I got all my kids' names for movies too. That's funny.
The spelling though I got from 23andMe, and oh no, it was from, I forgot which one it was, but it was in my history, because I spell with 2 N's at the end, but that was in one of my family members in Scotland. Oh, there's her eyeball.
I spent hours going through books, name books in the library, because it was before the World Wide Web, and looking for names, and I found a girl's name I liked, and then I changed it to be male and just kind of broke the rules there. And
I love
that.
Cody is from Tombstone, Wild Bill Cody. Madison is from Splash. Madison.
Oh, I love Splash
mermaid.
too.
And then Shannon is from Far and Away. What is the character's name? Shannon is the character's name, but what's the actress's name? It's the movie with not Tom Hanks. Who's the guy in Top Gun?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Is it Nicole Kidman?
Nicole
or
Kidman.
is it, yeah.
Yes. So I was manifesting a little red-headed baby with red hair, and I got it.
Oh.
She was born super blonde, but now her hair is red and curly. So
This one decided to make her hair red.
as you should, redheads rock.
My son started auburn, but now it's like his hair's brown, but it's kind of, to me, kind of an unusual brown because it's on the lighter side, but it's not blonde. So it's, yeah, sort of almost like a taupe.
Oh, my son's a ginger.
Yeah, my
My-
ex is a
Red
ginger.
hair, red hair.
Yeah.
She's blonde. My oldest is blonde, and the two middle are brown.
She looks like a redhead to me.
I think it will be. I was a redhead when I was little, so
You look like you could. Yeah.
yeah, you could be a
Does-
redhead.
Does she have strawberry highlights in the sun?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, it'll go more coppers. Because when I was younger, I was very much like strawberry blonde, and now it's just copper. I mean, and fake red, but yeah. But I think it's gorgeous, Evelyn. I love it.
Gorgeous.
You are a redhead.
Yes, but I think we'll probably
Yeah.
cut this part out.
Probably.
I can hear you guys.
You want to hear us?
Yeah.
Here, I'll stop recording and Lee can cut off the end.
Okay.